Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of our Philly Yongmudo stay-at-home workouts. Today we have something very interesting for you, a little bit different than we usually do. One of our students, Will Towler, is going to be running us through some proprioception exercises for martial arts. To kind of skin it down a bit, we're going to be learning how to do a handstand, and we are going to be learning how to do a cartwheel. These are a lot of basic motions involved. So we're going to be working on core strength, back strength, upper body strength, as well as our usual stuff. So what you will need for today is a little spot of wall that's cleared off. You might want to have either a mat. If you don't have a mat, then a folded towel, perhaps a folded up yoga mat, just something to kind of protect your head from the floor, and the usual water bottle. You don't need any weights today. So stick here, follow on, keep going, and here's an interesting workout from Will Towler.
Hey everyone, welcome to another recording of the Philly Yongmudo Temple Hot Keto Group stay-at-home workouts. I'm going to be hosting today. I'm Will Towler, and we are going to cover some proprioception today. It's a long word that basically means body awareness. It's relevant in a lot of different disciplines, martial arts, dancing, all sorts of things. It's how your body knows where its parts are in relation to the world around it. So we're going to get into some acrobatic type movements and some balance type movements and all that kind of stuff. But to start any of it, we have to get a warm-up started. So let's start with our jumping jacks as usual. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50. All right, and now we're just going to keep hopping, but this time we're going to be hopping left to right. If you have something to hop over, do that. We're going to do a bunch of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Back to front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on a diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. All right. Shake out your feet a little bit, and we are going to do our little warm-up circuits here. So, start with the push-ups as usual. I think we always start with push-ups. I don't know. Get your push-up position, whatever's comfortable for you. You can do 10 of these. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Roll over on your backs. Crunches of your choice. I'm going to do these easy ones, making sure to engage the abs. We're going to be doing a lot of core work today. We want these to be very warm. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Over on your belly. We're going to do our Supermans, or whatever your choice of back exercise is. And here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. From here, conveniently, push-ups. Next set, 10 more of these. Get in your position, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Over on your backs again. This time we're going to do leg lifts. I am. You do whatever you want for your core. Up in the air. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Back up. Roll over onto your bellies. Another set of back exercises. Again, whatever you want. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Nice. Last circuit, here we go. Your best push-ups that you have. 10 more of these. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Over on your backs. Last of the leg raises. I'm going to go side to side to engage the obliques. Here we are. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Good. Last time, over on your fronts. This time, we're going to do these leg and arm extensions if you're on all fours. This is going to be part warm-up, part stretch. So what you're going to do is one arm's going to come out, the opposite leg will come out as well, stretching out the back, crunching in, and that's 1. So we're going to get 10 of those on each side, whatever side you want to start on. Here we go. 1, in, 2, and in, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Don't forget to bring it in. Reset, other side. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bring that back in, release. Maybe do some cat cows. There we go. And up on your feet. That's a good warm up. If you need, take a brief break and breathe. Get yourself a drink of water. I'm going to. 2 seconds. So, like I said, we're going to be doing a lot of balance stuff, a lot of dynamic movements along the ground and stuff. So we want to make sure that our shoulders in particular and our core muscles are super stretchy, super warm. So let's just do a little bit of stretching, and we're going to start with head circles. Keep all these things nice and loose, knees slightly bent, head moving in a circle. It's an intentional stretch, switching directions as you need to. So you're not just letting your head kind of loll around, but you're stretching it down, loosening things up, feeling the crackling. Look to your right, look to your left. Repeat that a couple of times. And don't forget to breathe. Must keep breathing. And look up and down. Left ear to left shoulder, right ear to right shoulder. And shoulder circles backwards. Doing this, you want to make sure you're getting that full extension, fully concave, fully convex. Because again, this is not a cool down stretch right now. We're making sure that all these joints are warmed up and ready to go. And adding your elbows a little bit, getting slightly more range of motion in there, and full arms. All the way back. There we go. And going the other direction, just your shoulders. All the way back, all the way forward. Get in your elbows a little bit. And whole arm. There we go. All right, now some trunk twists. You can be dancer-like, getting that full extension, making sure to rotate on the balls of your feet. You can think about grabbing someone, pulling them off balance. Maybe it's that same dance partner. Or elbow strikes. All of these are giving you a slightly different stretch, slightly different range of motion as you're doing them. Let's move on to some hip circles. Keeping your head in one place. Again, getting as much of a full range of motion as you can here, warming everything up. Remembering to go both directions. You can go wide circles, you can go small circles as well. Gives you an idea of like body control kind of stuff. And down to your knees. Remembering with knee circles, if it hurts, don't do it. You can go slightly easier by moving your knees in, resting them on each other. Slightly more difficult, going lower, keeping them apart. And raise your hands up to the ceiling. Breathe in, deep breath out, forward fold. Just hang out here a little bit. And from here, just kind of bring yourself down to a seated position so that we can start our first set of exercises. So what I'm going to start on are bridges and bridge turnovers. For this, I asked y'all to have a spotting implement of some kind. I have a spotting bunny. This is going to be my spotter. So I'm going to be looking for as I turn over and place it here. Now, when we're in class, when we're doing bridge turnovers, or sorry, starting from the other direction, when you're in a real life situation and you're doing that bridge turnover and you're trying to get someone off you, right? You don't really care about what's behind you because if they hit a wall, great, awesome. But when you're dealing with your partner, it matters an awful lot more where they go and where you're headed, which is why we're talking about proprioception in this context, because we want to know where that throw is going to push them. You also might want to know in a real life situation so that you can have that awareness. So for this, what we're going to start with are just the bridge part. So you get in your nice position, you get your toes up close to your butt, you're pushing off the balls of your feet so you can do that bridge. And what I want you to do with this is find that thing, find your spot behind you. We're not going to do the full turnover to start with. We're just going to do the bridge. So you're going to come up, you're going to be up on your shoulder, you're going to look, find that thing, make eye contact with it, especially if it has eyes, that might make it easier. And then come back to the normal position. So again, we're going to plant the balls of our feet, push upwards, like we're trying to push that person off us. We're not turning all the way over, but we are making ourselves basically upside down here, finding our spot. All right, so we're going to do 10 of those on each side, alternating. I'm gonna start right and go right, left, right, left. Oh, any questions at all? I don't see any questions, but it's kind of hard to see, so yell if you have a question. Let's start with these. So, bridges, not bridge turnovers. And 1, make eye contact. 2, 3, and come back. 4, and come back. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, come back. 14, really reaching. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, last one, 20. There we go. That's a nice little warm up. But of course, that's not what we actually do when we're doing our bridge turnovers. When we're doing the bridge turnovers, we're launching this person off us and we're directing them where we want them to go. So now we're going to go the full way. If you have the space and you can travel a little bit, because you probably are going to be as you do these and turn over, that's great. If you don't, what I'm going to do doing these is actually, I'm going to do that turnover, right? We plant our feet, bridge, that one foot goes over, we turn, we've gone over, but this foot back here has remained planted. And so I'm going to just reverse that motion and come back to a starting position. It forces you to use your muscles a little bit weirder than maybe you're accustomed to. It's going to engage these a lot. We're going to be really focused on these obliques this session. So it'll be great for them. So we're going to do 5 on each side doing that, and then do a variation on it. So here we go. Bridge turnover, and remember, spot the thing that you are looking for. See that every time. So here we go. And 1, and back. 2, and back. 3, and back. 4, and back. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, all the way over, because why not? Cool. Do we have any questions on that? On how you're spotting, why you're spotting, the movement?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
So the spot that you're spotting on, is it directly behind you? Or is it slightly different depending which way you're turning?
If we're thinking of one that's actually of doing a bridge turnover that is going to replicate like a Hapkido bridge turnover, then it probably is going to be slightly side to side, just because of the necessity of how you're rotating in that movement. For the convenience of being able to swap back and forth from left to right, I'm kind of going as straight over as I can, but you are correct that like if you're getting someone off of you, then you are probably having to move slightly at an angle, not, or you are definitely having to move at an angle, not directly behind you for this.
Okay, thanks.
And in fact, on that topic, this time we also do these so that we're moving slightly more, much more perpendicular. So you might do the bridge and push over to the side more. So let's do a couple where we're thinking about that in particular. So I'm going to move my spotting bunny over here. Remember that your vision is still starting up at the ceiling. And this time, what I want to do is we're going to do 5 of these each side. It's spot to that side, going much more perpendicular. So here we go, and feet up close to your butt. Bridge, 1, turn over much more to the side. Same side, all 5 of these. And 2, there we go. And 3, and back. and 4, and back, and 5, and back. Take that spotting item, move it on over to the other side, 5 more, and 1, and back, and 2, and back, 3, and back, 4, and back, and 5. Here we go. Nice. All right. Cool. We're doing great on time. So kind of staying on the ground a little bit. Let me double check with my hair is completely out all over the place. Great. So now what we're going to do is a little bit less dynamic. We're going to do something a little bit more focused on balance, but still with the idea, keeping that idea of focusing on body awareness. Where is everything in relation to you? So what I want you to do, first, roll out your hands somewhat to get your wrist nice and warm. Do a couple of these, do a couple of these. We're going to be progressing on our way towards trying to do headstands and handstands here. For some of you who have wrist or shoulder or elbow injuries, you're going to have to be extra careful. I will offer some modified ideas for these balance poses that you can think of doing. But please be aware of that, because for some of this you are going to be upside down and you're going to have your head on the ground. I strongly recommend have a folded towel of some kind, or a mat, or a couch cushion, but not a pillow that is going to be more rounded in the middle than on the sides, because you're going to be putting your head on it. You don't want there to be any sort of like back and forth. Also, because we're going to be upside down some, if you start to feel out of breath, if you start to feel dizzy, if you start to feel like you're going to pass out, please don't. Please sit back, take some deep breaths, get some more water. That is just fine, because there will be blood rushing to your head. So be very aware of that. Breathe deeply. Don't tense up too much. This is just to play around, see if you can get yourself into a more balanced position. So what I want everyone to do, get on all fours, and just start with, we're just going to kind of move around doing circles, feeling these 4 points of contact that we have with the ground. There are entire workout ideals based on animal movements, where you're just in contact with the ground, moving fluidly, really working out your wrists here, keeping your toes on the ground. We're not backing out onto our heels at all. And now what I want you to do is start thinking more of the forward to back motion. So maybe going a little side to side, feeling stretch in your obliques, and then thinking strictly backwards and forwards, a little bit like a frog, because what we're going to do is a frog pose. To do this, you're going to want to start thinking about putting your knees on the outsides of your elbows here. At least that's how I've always done it. I believe I've heard other variations on this. Whatever balance works for you, if you know one. For me, knees on the outside of the elbows. And you can already start to feel your weight kind of coming onto your hands this way, right? So to do this, let's do 3, 2, 1. 3 forward, 2 forward and back. And then on that last one, I want you to actually let your weight come up off your feet, off your toes, and onto your hands, and just hang out. All right? Any questions? Cool. So here we go. We're going to come forward, leaning a little bit, 3, and come back, lean forward a little bit, 2, and come back. And now on 1, lean forward, let your toes come up, and just hang out here. It's nice. Think about your body, think about your balance, think about where you are. Look down between your feet, what's behind you, because you're kind of upside down. And breathe and come back. Shake it out a little bit. Take a couple deep breaths. You might be red in the face. I get red in the face real easy and look completely winded about 10 seconds into anything. Just make sure you're doing those deep breaths. Let's do it again. And 3, and 2, And this time we're going to try to hold for 10 whole seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good, and come on back. Feels good, right? Because it's a relatively easy balance pose. It looks real cool because you're just hanging out there on your hands. So now we're going to see how this starts to progress our way into a headstand or a handstand. So get your pad. And what I recommend for this, I'm going to do this facing this way, because I practiced this a whole bunch and I feel fairly confident. If you are not terribly confident in your balance, and recommended, even if you are somewhat confident, face the wall as you're doing this. I promise I'm not going to be staring at your butt. I can barely see anyone. But because what we're going to do is we're going to do that frog pose. We're going to do our 1, 2, 3 and come up into it. And then just roll forward, get your head on the ground. And now you are kind of in a headstand. All right, so we're going to do that, hold it for a bit, and see how that feels.
Hey, Will?
Yes?
What's the recommended distance from the wall?
You want to be...
A foot, 3 feet?
You want the back of your head to end up pretty much right up against the wall. Okay. Because that way, when you are rolled up against it, so I'll demonstrate here. So if I get in my frog pose, roll over, put my head on the ground. So I'm basically against the wall. If I roll towards my back almost at all, I'm in contact with it. And that gives me points of contact so that I can feel that friction, right? And not end up falling sideways or slipping and losing balance or anything like that. I don't want to end up impacting the wall as I fall and then maybe like slipping side to side, especially because I've got a TV here. So I want to keep flat against that. So let's try this a couple of times and then we'll try an actual headstand and that'll feel great. When you're doing this, one more time, just a reminder, gonna have my spotting buddy right behind me. And I want to try to make eye contact with it once I get my head on the ground. Because for proprioception, what that is that's the awareness of your relationship to the stuff. I can see that, I can touch it, I can continue to find that thing over and over again. The floor is not going to move, the walls are not going to move, the ceiling's not going to move. So this one point is how you're going to stabilize yourself and kind of feel comfortable with being upside down. If that kind of makes sense. Spotting is how you keep balance. So we're in our little frog pose again, shake out a little bit because I talked too long. Hands and feet on the ground, and 3, and 2, and 1, hanging out in the frog pose, maybe breathing a little bit, chest open. Now put that head on the ground, trusting the strength of your hands, the alignment of your neck to keep yourself stable here, and just hang out. Find that thing behind you. Focus on your breathing. And come on back to your feet. Feel good? Roll your wrists out a little bit. We'll do that one more time. Here we go, and 3, 2, and 1. Forward, hanging out. We're balanced, we look behind us, we make eye contact with our spotter, and we're balanced now. This is a tripod, you're doing a headstand. And now at this point, if you feel pretty confident, especially if you are up against the wall, engage those core muscles and try to point your feet up in the air. With your 3 points of contact on the ground, you should still be very stable even while you're doing this. And breathe. And come on back down. All right, how's everyone feel? Feel good? Have questions?
That was really cool. It's the first time I've successfully done a headstand. Although I did forearms because I don't have the upper body strength to hold that.
Yes, I meant to make that point. Very good point. Thank you for the reminder. Especially if you have some sort of injury in one of your joints, I think specifically elbow, you can do this on your forearms. You might feel a little bit silly because you're going to be starting here with your butt kind of up in the air, but it is very easy to do. You've got your elbows down. You're going to lean forward. Oh, shoot.
Really can't see you. Tilt it down.
Oh, no. You can do it elbows down. For me, it takes a little bit more balance. I'm not used to doing it that way, but it's a very good way to do it that is much nicer on your wrists. And
it feels easier too. Like I think when I just tried it, and the balance point is easier than trying to maintain the position on the frog position with the arms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so essentially, if the camera is the ground for the forearm position, is I'm making a triangle with my forearms and I'm putting the top of my head on the ground inside that for people who have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Another thought that I had just for kind of thinking about stability and all that kind of stuff, especially because I'm going to get up against the wall shortly so we can do handstands, is you can do planks against the wall to walk yourself up to the wall. So now what I'm going to do is get my pad against the wall because I know where my head's going to be. And from here, facing away from the wall, I want you on either hands or elbows, whatever is comfortable for you, and extend your foot out, find that wall behind you, extend the other foot. Now you're here. How nice. It's a plank. It is a pretty devastating plank for me because planks are difficult. You can come down to your elbows, do your military push-ups if you want to, and then gradually walk your way up the wall, walking your hands in, and you are now doing a handstand against the wall. If this is hard on your shoulders, you can actually gently let down. Now your head is on the floor, and that might be easier for you, that might be harder. For me, it's much easier to feel this balance here. And you can walk your way back out. So that is a way to walk yourself up into it. And then you have all the stability that you want against the wall. You might feel yourself tip forward, in which case, all of you who are experienced with acrobatics or Hapkido can do your forward roll. You start to lean a little bit forward, go into that forward roll, catch yourself, again, being aware that you have space around you to do so, and don't just go for it. Slam your heel into something. So that's one way to get up into it. And then you might have seen what I did right there. We're going to try this, if you feel comfortable with it. Try to do an inverse shoulder press. The way that's going to work, I'll start in the headstand because that'll be the starting position. You can also do inversions of this or reversals of this. Negatives, that's the term. Letting yourself down. And this is good both for balance and for your shoulders. So, gonna turn away for a bit, get in my frog pose, get in the headstand. You'll do this as well, of course. We're gonna do 1, 2, and 3, rolling into it, head on the ground, getting those feet up in the air. Reposition your hands somewhat. Now, when you do this, you want to put a fair amount of force into the initial thing. You try to do this slowly, it's very, very hard. So you're going to want to push against the ground. And we're gonna try to do 3 of these. We'll see how far we get. So here we go. Inverse push-ups or military press. And 1, pushing up, down, 2, and coming down, 3, and balance is going, but luckily the floor is behind you. Cool. So let's take a little break from that. You can feel great now. You've done some handstands. You've done some headstands. You have really seriously worked on your balance. And a lot of this is on comfort being upside down. There is A lot of us, especially if we're doing our air falls, our forward rolls, our back rolls, part of the fear that comes in that is not being comfortable being upside down, being in weird orientations. When you become more confident with being in weird orientations with respect to the ground and gravity, it becomes way easier to convince yourself to go into those roles of different types and feel confident that you have that sort of balance. So take a break just for 30 seconds, get some water. I'm gonna make sure I know what's coming next.
While Will is getting some water, one more suggestion. I found the last drill to be particularly hard. Many people are probably gonna lack the upper body strength to do that. In order to do the negatives version of what Will was talking about, you could do the reverse plank where you walk up with the arms straight and then just try to gently lower yourself down, and then you're gonna have to walk out again but walk yourself back up, then lower yourself down, and that might be another way to do it. Or you just kick up into the handstand using the wall and lower yourself down and fall back. So depending, facing the wall or facing away from the wall, both are options.
Yeah. One thing I'm not covering because I'm not so good at it, so I wouldn't be a good teacher for it, is actually going into the handstand from standing. That is a slightly different technique, but if you have the wall behind you, then you can do that with quite a bit of confidence that you're going to come up into your handstand and half of your options to fall are cut off by a wall, which is kind of great. Cool. Oh, also what negatives do for you is they will activate the same muscle group, but in a much gentler way. So don't worry that you're like doing a totally different thing. You're doing exactly the same thing. You're activating the exact same muscles in a reverse movement. Okay, so last topic. Now we're going to work on a different sort of acrobat thing, and we're going to start on working, getting into handstands. Or I just did that. Cartwheels. Cartwheels. You might think we cannot do a cartwheel in such a small space. You are wrong. You cannot do a cartwheel where you are trying to launch yourself. If I did so, I would go all the way through this wall out into the hallway. Instead, we're going to do cartwheels that cover a much, much smaller amount of space, but we're going to progress into them. I stood up just so I could do that. I want to start in child's pose, actually, so on your knees, deep breath, hands out in front of you, and come down so that you're stretching your shoulders out. We're doing this because we're about to be putting a lot of strain on the shoulders. We want to be nice to them. Get that good stretch. And roll your shoulders and coming out of it. So to start these, what I want you to do is, again, get your spotting buddy in case you want to be able to spot between your legs, which I strongly encourage for the whole proprioception bit. And you're going to start kind of, again, this frog pose, or I guess like not the frog pose, but hands and feet on the ground. And we'll just start hopping a little bit back and forth. Let's do, say, 20 of these, kind of keeping your eye on the thing behind you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20. And now what I want you to do is modify that somewhat. Instead of doing both feet, I want you to go from one foot to the other foot.
Bill,
Yes.
what is the distance between your hands and your feet front to back?
This is going to be kind of like, I should do it this way. So I'm about here.
Oh, okay.
Kind of in a downward dog, not all the way into a downward dog like this, but you're up fairly high, or I am here, and you're just hopping back and forth. Maybe come a little bit closer if you want to. That's also fine. And the next step of it is that you're going to go from one foot to the other. So now getting a little bit more balance in there and still feeling comfortable being with your head hanging down, feeling upside down like this. So left foot to right foot. Let's do some. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we're going to do more of these. And as we do more of them, we're going to slow them down and think about this stretch here Your foot's coming out behind you some. Here. And feeling more and more comfortable with getting more and more air, making longer movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now do both legs. We call these monkeys sometimes, where you're coming up with both legs, right? 1, 2. 1, 2. Let's do a couple of those, maybe 6 of them. 1, 2, getting more air. 3, 4, 5, 6, and come on up. Roll your shoulders and wrists out a little bit. Breathe, because you've had your head upside down again. Don't want anyone passing out on the floor or anything like that. So, nice long deep breaths. And you might have been noticing that we were coming closer and closer with each one of those to something approximating a cartwheel. A cartwheel, you think, has your feet way up, high up in the air. You're moving an enormous distance. Excuse me. You're moving an enormous distance, but in this case, we are just here. Our feet are coming up. Zoom. And zoom. And you're getting that balance on your hands and the movement of your legs, but you're just sitting right here in this room. So, last little thing before we move into some cool down stretches. Been working real hard. Let's try to actually do that cartwheel. So we'll T-pose, which I think is a thing among the young people. But we're going to start here. The reason we're going to start here is because we're thinking about doing this cartwheel. You're touching a foot to your hand to your toe, right? We're not doing this cartwheel. That cartwheel is no good. Instead, you're going to touch. When you do this, you're engaging these abs to come down. You're crunching. For those of you thinking about your side kicks, it's the same thing. You're crunching and you're making that smaller space. So let's do 10 toe touches, 5 each side. And 1, engage the abs. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And for the final step, you're now going to move into a full cartwheel, which you're able to do because you've been doing all these exercises, you're feeling loose, you're feeling ready. And what's going to happen is that you're going to replace that foot with a hand, the same hand, right foot, right hand. You're doing this motion and you're doing that cartwheel motion, but because your abs are crunched so you can get in here, because your hand is here and not way out here, is a much smoother motion that takes much less energy and still gets you to do that, that cartwheel motion.
Just want to splice in an edit on Will's video. He was running through the cartwheel exercise, and so a quick thing just to kind of fix up what he had talked about. As he's coming down, he mentioned moving the same side foot. What he really wants to do is move the other side foot. So he does get there. But quick correction, here's the basic idea on this. What we want to do is with the hand coming down, it's the opposite foot coming up. And we don't have to get a lot of height, but this way we can work on our very basic cartwheel. All right? So
we're not going to do many because we'll all get dizzy, but let's try to do 2 on each side, all right? So I'm going to go to the right first, and here we go. 1, woo, didn't quite do it right. Other side. 2, 3, and 4, How do you feel? Just messed everyone up. So you're coming down, that left foot is coming up actually, right? You're kind of keeping your T-pose a little bit, turning. And now, same concepts though. You're coming down, comes up. Your hand is still basically going to where your foot is so that you're not launching yourself way far over. I want to do more of those, but we only have 10 minutes left and we need to do a cool down. Let's do some cool downs. And remember for the cool downs, now we are rewarding our bodies for having allowed us to do awesome balance and acrobatics things. So let's get our necks going again. Nice neck circles, eyes open, breathing, knees slightly bent, making sure that you are pushing into that rotation, going both directions. Deep breaths the whole time. And looking up and looking down, looking up, down, and right, and left. Repeating. And left ear to left shoulder, right ear to right shoulder, left and right. Let's see, just some shoulder circles backwards. Engage that whole region, getting that nice range of motion in there. And adding your elbows. Whole arm. Big wide circles. And shoulders just going forwards. Add elbows. Add whole arm. And just do some trunk twists. Remembering to rotate on the balls of those feet. Be nice to your knees as well. Catch one arm over. Pull that in. And other arm. Remembering these are all active stretches. You're not just catching stuff. Pull that arm behind your head. Middle finger kind of going down your spine, not collapsing on the neck too much. If you can, take that other hand, reach it around behind, shake hands with yourself. Good job. Stretching out. Other arm, push that back behind your head, fingers going down your spine. Deep breaths the whole time. And from here, one foot up, you're gonna do some ankle rotations, maybe 5 going each way. We just worked on our balance, so you should be able to find something to spot and keep perfectly still here now. And do the other leg. 1. 5 each direction. Good. Shake out your feet just a little bit. And we're gonna grab stuff off trees. I find that if I think of actually grasping something as I'm doing this, it really engages this whole region a lot better. I get my shoulders and my back and my abs all in it. Changing the angles so you can also feel it in your lower abs, so you can feel it in your lower back some. And hands away from the sky as high as they can go. Breathe in and swan dive forward into a forward fold, breathing out. Hang out a little bit. Hands on your shins, flatten your back, pulling the top of your head away from your spine. And forward fold. Bend your knees, ragdoll upwards. Hands above your head. And swan dive forward. Feel nice and loose after all this. Hands on your shins, flatten your back one more time. Really lengthening the spine and forward fold. Right foot over left foot. Feeling around with your hip a little bit to see where the stretch is best for you. For me, I have to kind of sit down into my hip some. Some people feel in different areas. And untangle, left foot over right, same thing. So you can get that good stretch in there. Plant your hands, I'm gonna turn and come out into a high plank. Moving your feet back to do so. Still, deep breaths. Bend your elbows down into a low plank. Pushing forward, rolling over your toes. Up into cobra. Maybe turn your head some. Get that neck stretch in. Fold your toes under. Push your hips back to downward dog. Really sitting into it, driving those heels carefully towards the floor. Making a V with your body, inverse V. Walk out your calves some, taking weight off one to put on the other. And also think about crunching in that side a little bit, getting some movement in there. Now, walk your hands in towards your feet as you widen your stance. Hanging down. And turn your right toes outwards. Come up into a side kick stretch to your right. Weight 50-50 between your legs. 90-degree bend in that front leg. Good stretch in the hip. Rotate on the ball of your back foot. And bring both hands in the air. You can do one hand in the air, or you're in a deep lunge. Good. Come on down on that knee gently, maintaining the stretch. Put your hands together. You're going to put your left elbow on the outside of your right knee. Turn into a prayer pose. Nice back stretch. And untangle. Bring yourself back up. You're going to turn over, kind of coming through that half split or whatever to the other side. Side kick stretch to the left. Again, weight is roughly 50-50. Legs are engaged, not lazy. I'm gonna change my angle here. And turn that back foot onto the ball of it. Crescent pose, crescent lunge. Breathing the whole time. Come down on that knee, maintaining the stretch. Hands together, prayer pose, right elbow outside of the left knee. Nice back stretch, looking up at the ceiling. All right, now relax down into a butterfly stance. Feet together. You can flap your knees a little bit if you like that. Pull those heels in towards your body. You can use your elbows to push your knees down slightly and start to try to fold forward. Remember, hinging at the hips before you hinge at the back. We're not trying to compress anyone's spines here. And breathe. Take the right leg, put it over the left knee. Hug that in. Pulling the knee into your body, sitting down into their right hip, back totally straight. And left elbow over your right knee. Similar back stretch to the prayer pose. I always like to exhale into this to get the full twist. So breathe in and out. Good, untangle. Right leg down, left foot over. Pulling that in. Sitting your left hip down to the ground. Back straight. Right arm comes over. And breathe in and out. And then last thing, just to be nice to our backs a little bit, I want you to lie flat on the ground, trying to keep your back aligned in contact with the ground as much as possible. You're going to have to engage some of your lower abs, but just lie back, flat on the ground, letting everything just rest in alignment for a little bit. Let's just do 2 breaths. In and out. In and out. Nice. All right, well done, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Philly Yongmudo Temple Hapkido stay-at-home workouts. I enjoyed doing this, enjoyed hanging out with y'all. I hope everyone is staying safe and happy and sane and in shape. We're all gonna get through this together, as Rob always says, and as is quite true. So thanks again, y'all. See you next time.
Thanks, Will.